kind? I do not know.
As Patrick's fame spread, men and women not only converted to Christianity, many devoted their lives to his mission. But just when Patrick's work looked secure, tragedy struck. Moments after their confirmation, Patrick's followers were set upon by the soldiers of a British king. They slaughtered the men and carried the women away as slaves. As in a nightmare, the attack evoked Patrick's own capture and enslavement.
Word got back almost immediately to Patrick.
What shall I do, Lord? Look, thy sheep around me are torn to pieces and driven away.
And the horror of all that happening to his Christians whom he loved, it broke his heart.
Oh, you fair and beloved brethren, what can I do for you? With my own hand I have written and composed these words, to be given, delivered, and sent to the soldiers of Coroticus.
King Coroticus was not a pagan, but a Christian. It was to his Christian conscience that Patrick now appealed.
Patrick wanted him to repent. He had committed a frightful crime. And he also wanted him to release those people and send them back.
He expected that messenger to be treated with some respect by a Christian king, by a fellow Briton.
Coroticus just laughed at him, and that was a red rag to a bull. And he attacks this nominally Christian king.
They live in death, dripping with blood. Parricide, fratricide.
When he writes to Coroticus, he is totally identified with these Irish. He says, you treat us Irish as if we were the scum of the earth.
When the bishops of Britain refused to censure their king, Patrick denounced them as well.
God will judge. Not only those who do evil, but even those who agree with them are damned.
His letter stunned the British Church.
The bishops of Britain were very deeply offended that he had stepped out of bounds and was basically excommunicating British Christians.
We can certainly imagine that they would look askance at somebody like Patrick, who had taken on this role himself, not only a self-styled cleric and a self-styled missionary, but a self-styled bishop.
The church thought Patrick was acting beyond his powers, and now they set out to bring him down.
Rather than rejoicing in the good effect that a whole new world was being introduced to Christianity, these people were simply interested in destroying the mission.
There was a tribunal of inquiry set up. There were complaints made against him.
The bishop summoned Patrick back to Britain to face their charges as if he were a criminal. The most shocking accusation came from his closest friend.
His best friend stood up and told a sin that Patrick had committed as a young boy.
Though Patrick never recorded his boyhood sin, some still wonder if it was debauchery, thievery, or worse.
We know that it troubled his conscience severely, and he felt the need to confess it.
The man to whom Patrick confessed had once been his staunchest supporter.
Now that man was bound never to repeat that. And the awful thing was that this man came out and told this sin before the whole tribunal.
To him I had confided my very soul. He let me down before all.
This sin was used as a pretense by the bishops of Britain to try to get him kicked out of Ireland.
When I was accused on that day, was I struck so that I might have fallen now and for eternity?
Here are his people degrading him. It was a big shock.
And Patrick was crushed under the heel, as he said.
He sank into such a depth of despair and depression that he didn't think that he was ever going to get out of it.
He nearly lost the faith.
May God never permit it to happen to me that I should lose his people in the utmost parts of the world. I pray to God to give me perseverance. I saw my own face, with shameful words of accusation written around it. But then I heard God's voice saying to me, "We are very angry that my chosen one has been criticized." The voice didn't say, "You are angry," but "We are angry," as if God were speaking for both of us.
The voice that had led him out of bondage now restored to him his renegade spirit. In a personal testament to his life and mission, he flatly refused the bishop's summons.
Bishop Horik, Paki,
I am Patrick, a sinner, most unlearned, the least of all the faithful and utterly despised.
Declaring his innocence, Patrick told the story of his life in language that was direct and heartfelt.
Let those who will laugh and scorn. I shall not be silent.
He had character. He wasn't going to be put down by anything. Nothing put down Patrick.
I cannot hide God's gift, which he bestowed upon me in the land of my captivity.
Through his story, he offered a song in praise of God and his creation.
There I sought him, and there I found him, and he saved me from all evil.
His mission is driven by his faith experience, and they don't get that, and they ought to get that if they're men of faith.
You men of letters, listen and pore over this. Who was it that roused me up, the fool that I am? He inspired me, the outcast of this world, to faithfully serve the people for the duration of my life.